All right, so today we're really diving into something, and I gotta say, it's something I think we all kind of struggle with.
Yeah.
It's this whole less screen time thing, right? Like, how do we actually get our families to unplug a little bit?
Yeah, it's funny you say struggle. Like, it's this thing everybody knows is good,
Right.
but nobody's quite sure how to do.
Exactly. And we're not trying to, like, go back to the Stone Age pre-internet,
Right.
even though the source we're looking at today might seem like that at first glance, What we're really looking for in this deep dive today is like, what are those practical things that we can actually do?
Yeah, and I think one thing that's easy to miss is that it's not about, like, demonizing screens or acting like technology is bad. It's more about
Totally.
how do we use it well and strategically.
Yes, it's about being intentional.
Right. Exactly.
So, one of the things that really resonated with me in this source was the focus on connection, like
Yeah.
reclaiming those opportunities for genuine connection. And they use this phrase, designated screen-free times. But it's more than that, right? It's about like that vision of everybody at the dinner table actually present, having real conversations instead of just scrolling through their phones, like actually tasting the food.
There's actually a lot of research out there about how important family meals are, like when they're done well, like you said, where you're actually connecting. They become a time to build social skills.
Right.
Kids can observe how to have a conversation,
Oh, totally.
how to listen,
Yeah.
how to read other people's body language. And these are things that screens honestly make hard.
Absolutely. And it's not just meals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the source talks about like quality family time, but I don't know about you, but sometimes that ends up defaulting to like watching a movie together,
Right.
which is fine sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's not really what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's good to have other options. And actually,
Yeah.
one of the things research has shown is really powerful for quality time is collaborative activities.
Oh, interesting.
So like instead of just saying, okay, no screens, it's like, let's build a fort. Let's play a board game together.
Yeah.
Those not only kind of naturally create that screen-free environment, but they also promote communication. They promote problem solving,
I love that.
which are skills that go way beyond just, that activity.
Yeah, it's like sneaking in life skills while you're having fun. I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're talking about creating this environment, right? And one thing this source emphasizes is establishing screen-free zones. And I think it's pretty easy for most people to be like, yeah, the dinner table, that should be a screen-free zone.
Right.
But what about like the bedroom?
Ooh. Yeah.
Because let's be honest, that's often the last thing we look at before we go to sleep and the first thing we reach for when we wake up.
Yeah. I mean, and that actually ties into this whole field of environmental design. The idea that how we design the spaces around us impacts our behavior.
Interesting.
So if your bedroom is full of screens and, it's just this place of constant stimulation,
Yeah.
it's going to be way harder to relax,
Absolutely.
to sleep well.
Yeah.
But if you can make it a tech-free zone, then it's like this haven of rest, rejuvenation, free from all those notifications and pings and things that are constantly grabbing our attention.
See, now that sounds amazing. Like, I love the idea of that digital detox before bed.
Yeah.
No more doom scrolling first thing in the morning. Okay, so we've got our zones.
Right.
We're engaging in that quality time. But here's the other piece of the puzzle. Us.
Yeah.
We have to be the role models. And that can be hard.
Yeah, it's one thing to, say, do as I say, not as I do. But kids aren't really buying that, are they?
No, they're not buying it.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right.
And I always think back to this thing called social learning theory.
Okay.
Basically says that, especially when kids are young, they learn by watching what we do. So if they constantly see us glued to our phones, even if we're telling them to do something different, they're internalizing that as, oh, this is just what people do.
It's that whole do as I do thing, not do as I say.
Exact.
It's so true. We really underestimate how much our kids are watching us and learning from us.
Yeah.
Which leads us to, I think, the final really key point in this source, which is about providing alternatives. It's not enough to just take away the screens. We have to fill that void with something that's actually like engaging and interesting.
Yes. And I think this is where it gets fun.
Okay.
Because instead of thinking about it like, ugh, I have to come up with all these things,
Yeah.
it's more like we get to curate this menu of awesome activities.
Oh, I love that.
So, we've got art supplies that can unleash creativity.
Yes.
Puzzles can challenge the mind. You've got active games to get those endorphins pumping.
Yeah, get moving, right?
Exactly. And these are things that stimulate different parts of the brain. They help kids grow and develop in ways that passively watching a screen just can't replicate.
Yeah, it's such a good point, and it makes it, I think, more appealing, right?
Yeah.
Because instead of it being this negative no screens thing, it's like, let's get creative, or let's go on an adventure, or let's go outside.
Yeah, it's way more inviting.
Exactly, it's all about the framing. So, for everyone listening, I'm curious, what are some of the things that your family does to unplug? Like, what are your go-to activities? Because I'm always looking for new ideas.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's important to acknowledge that every family is different. So what works for one might not work for another. So it's kind of about figuring out, okay, what are our family strengths? What are our interests?
Right.
And how can we tailor these ideas to fit our unique dynamic?
Yeah, there's no one-size-fits-all approach here.
Exactly.
It's about being willing to experiment a little bit, see what sticks.
And to not be afraid to change it up.
Yes, I love that. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional, like you were saying at the beginning.
And just remembering that this is a journey, not a destination.
Ooh, I love that. It's so true. Well, this source gave us a lot to think about, and I hope that everyone listening feels equipped with at least a couple of new ideas to try out.
Me too.
Because ultimately, it's about making those small but meaningful changes towards a more balanced and connected life. So, until next time, happy unplugging, everybody.